What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you a bit of a different video today. Thought I would take a break from making content about Pathfinder and things, and other CRPGs really, and talk about a more recent release that I've personally been thinking about, albeit not covering. And that's because while it's on my mind, I don't necessarily want to play it, and as the title would of course have told you, that game is Diablo 2 Resurrected. Now, a couple people have asked me about it because, it's obviously not a CRPG, but it's got that top-down isometric angle, and I've expressed interest in ARPGs before. But what people would have no way of knowing is that Diablo 2 was an incredibly important game for me personally. But before we get into that, I will say this. As it stands, unless people just really want me to play Diablo 2 on a live stream or something, or the new one I should say, I'm not really planning on doing so, simply because I probably played Diablo 2 more than I've played any other game ever. When Diablo was current, when it launched actually, I was only 7 at the time, mind you, but a few years later, around 2005, 2006, I got into Diablo 2, and I played that game religiously. So here's the thing, and this is where this video might get weirdly personal. I've mentioned this here and there, but I've never really talked about it much in terms of a video. I grew up insanely poor. It was not uncommon for me to live in houses where the electricity and just the utilities in general were not on, due to not being able to pay those bills. I was in fact homeless as a teenager, and video games in general were just kind of this thing that I really wanted to explore and kind of see the worlds that they had to offer. But ultimately, due to my financial situation and being a child, I couldn't really do much about that. One of the incredibly few games I ever got to play was Diablo 2, and this was primarily because while, big MMOs and things were launching around that time, that is 2005, 2006, the most I personally got was Diablo 2, and while it had that online function, it of course also had that single player function, and you could play it entirely offline. So we had this old computer, and I would basically play Diablo 2 on it all the time. And for the span of about 2 years of my childhood, I would say, I played this game on average 12 hours a day, which is super not healthy, but obviously neither was the situation I was in, so here we are. So when it comes to Diablo 2, just to kind of lighten things up a little bit if that was too heavy for some people, my favorite class is actually the Druid. My main was a Wind Druid. I got him all the way to level 97. I never did manage to get level 99 because I kept dying on Bale runs on Hell mode, and I would lose experience, but my main guy was a Wind Druid on level 97. And I would farm gear, I would farm the charms, I would do the Uber runs here and there. I wasn't very good at the Uber runs, mind you, so I mostly stayed away from it, but I was aware of their existence. And I played on the ladder when, the rare occasions we actually had internet. One of my personal favorite things to do when I actually had access online and I could play the ladder stuff, when I got a higher level character, what I really enjoyed was actually running people through the game real quick, doing rushes. And then for payment, I would take their Hellforge drops. So in Act 4, there's this quest where you go to the Hellforge and you smash it or whatever, and you get a bunch of high-level runes, and on Hell mode, you're guaranteed to get a bunch of really good ones. And I would just take those as payment for doing the rushes. I remember having a lot of fun with that. I remember, of course, things like getting scammed, etc. Because, keep in mind, I was in 8th grade, so there's that. I guess my point being is that Diablo 2 holds this weird space in my life, despite it, just being a video game at the end of the day. And while it is, of course, a game, it simultaneously reminds me of a weird time for me, honestly. And when I see Diablo 2 Resurrected, part of me definitely wants to play it, just to check out the new models and all the new graphical stuff that they added, which is mostly just a new graphics engine on top of the literal old game, which is very appealing to me personally, because the footage you're seeing right now is actually footage I captured myself from my copy of Diablo 2 that is to this day installed on my computer. I have Diablo 2 merch. I bought both of the collector's editions of Diablo 3, and while Diablo 3 certainly wasn't Diablo 2, I enjoyed it. It just didn't really have that staying power ultimately, and we'll leave it at that. No need for that discussion, but I will certainly be playing Diablo 4 because while I don't cover it content-wise, it is a series that I love that kind of weirdly got me through a very rough time in my life. And to sum this video up, I suppose, basically, I want to leave you guys with this. I don't really have any urge to play Diablo 2 Resurrected beyond wanting to see some of the graphical changes, which is kind of weird, but I just kind of want to see some of the bigger enemies in full res, In my fashion, as always, when I am unsure about whether to do something content-wise, I figure the best thing to ask is simply that, to ask whether or not my audience would want that. So, with this video, I'm basically leaving it up to you guys. If you guys want to see me play Diablo 2 Resurrected and make some content on it, I will absolutely take that trip down memory lane. I might just do maybe live streams of it here after a while, or potentially some pre-recorded videos maybe. Not necessarily trying to do like guides or anything. Lord knows there's a million of those out that are probably way better than anything I could make personally. But just to take that trip down memory lane if you guys were interested. So with all that said, just let me know down in the comment section below. And thank you so much for watching. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.